your dreams.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Snowbreak Containment Zone video. And today I'm just going to be talking about the new 5-star operative character, Eatchel. By the way, if you haven't liked the content, feel free to like and subscribe. Eatchel is a new shotgun 5-star character that's basically a support slash healer. I'm going to just tell you straight away, if you have at least 2 out of the 3 of these operatives, Acacia Kaguya, Shadow Ka Maxer, and Tess. If you have at least 2 of these characters, I do think Etel is kind of an easy skip. Etel is good at what she does. However, if you're a veteran player with at least 2 of those other support characters that I've mentioned, I do think she's kind of an easy skip for veterans. New players, if you are looking for a new support character, I do think Etel is a pretty good pickup. Since she can also heal, that basically takes up a healing slot already. If you're tired of using the 4-star Yao or the 4-star Chen, you can at least use Etel to take up those slots, and you also have another support character to boot. Etel is also a shotgun character, so if you do need to break off armor, she is pretty good at dealing with that as well. So you no longer have to rely on a Fenny to break off armor, you can use Etel instead. As a 5-star healer, she can out-heal Yao and Chen. However, in the current state of the game, I don't think there's a need for this much healing. You're not going to be taking that much damage. As for her support capabilities, I do think the other 3 supports that I've mentioned earlier in the video are much better supports. That is mostly because Etel's support capability relies on her ultimate, and her ultimate costs 100 energy. Basically what her ult does is she'll transform into this hybrid state and do AoE kinetic damage to the enemies, knocking them back. This basically gives your characters this thing called the Icebound Claws. You get at least 5 of them after her ult, and 1 Icebound Claw will disappear after 10 seconds. Ice Claws will increase your operative's attack depending on how much healing output that Etel has. When your operative's HP is less than 30%, it will consume 2 Ice Claws, will restore their HP, and will apply invulnerability for 2 seconds. As I stated earlier, the problem with this is that you're probably not going to be taking that much damage to begin with anyways, because there's not that many enemies in the game that really hit that hard. Unless you're intending to get hit or you're just really that bad at dodging, you're not going to be seeing this effect that often, probably once in a blue moon. The attack increase from this ultimate that your operatives get is pretty impressive. However, because this ult costs 100, this is basically going to be the only ultimate you have to use unless you use Tess in the party. It's also going to take a while to get to 100, so you're not going to be using this ultimate right away. Her support skill isn't really that impressive. It heals you and it also knocks back enemies AoE. That's basically all it does. What makes the other 5-star supports better is that they just have better support skills. Acacia Kaguya's support skill can crowd control, deals damage to the enemies, and also decreases their elemental resistance. Shadow Ka's support skill can bind to a few enemies, and instead of shooting the enemies themselves, you can just shoot this mummy instead. This basically increases your operative's damage, and it also helps with aiming against enemies that like to move around a lot or that float around a lot. Tess's support skill basically increases your operative's elemental damage. All of these good support skills are available at a click of a button. Etel's support capabilities is only available after you reach 100 ultimate energy. So Etel is kind of outclassed by previous support characters, and you know, I don't really see much of a reason to pull for her unless you just lack 2 of those 3 operatives that I just mentioned. I don't know if any of those 3 operatives are getting a rerun. I've heard that they are, and if they are, I would probably suggest that you pull for those characters instead of Etel. I've heard that CN players are complaining about Etel, so maybe she might get a buff. Maybe. I'm not saying she will, but she might get a buff. So I would suggest that you wait a little longer if you're still on the fence whether you want to pull for Etel or not. There might be better support characters that are getting a rerun this patch. I'm not 100% sure. Or Etel herself may receive a buff. If I were to buff Etel, I would probably have her ultimate cost, I don't know, maybe have it cost 30. I think 100 is way too much. I think having it be at 30 is fine, especially if they want her to be like a support character that specializes with her ultimate. I don't know what else I would really change with her kit. Maybe have her deal a little bit more damage, and I think that's really about it. Damage wise, she is kind of cope. I did try her as a main DPS build at one point. It works, but I mean it's cope. Her standard skill doesn't really deal that much damage, and it's really useless against bosses that float. Logistics I had on her was the Amano set, the set that basically increases ballistic damage and increases it even further if you get a crit. I do think Etel is kind of fun to play. I don't regret pulling for her, but it is kind of pog that previous supports are just better than her, which is weird because we just recently had Kadia, who's probably one of the best DPS characters in the game. And then Etel shows up and she's kind of just mid. I think Etel was probably made for the Labyrinth mode in mind, since the Labyrinth mode does take a long ass time to complete. There are also buffs that help you get your ultimate even quickly, so I think she was probably made for that mode in mind. Anyways, that's all I really have to say about Etel. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Did you pull her? Do you like her so far? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye now. Come again soon.